Hello, welcome to my channel, Brains. So today I'll be talking about Emmet. Okay, my name is Kinsley Aigbuche. I'll be talking about Emmet. Now, what is Emmet? Emmet is a tool for writing HTML elements faster. Okay, not just only HTML but also CSS as well. Okay, but today my focus is on HTML elements. Okay, now Emmet is not a programming language. I will have to repeat this. Emmet is not a programming language. Okay, so Emmet is just a tool for writing HTML elements faster. So let's go to VS Code or whatever code editor you're using and see how Emmet works. Okay, so right now I'm using VS Code, all right, and I already have Emmet installed on my VS Code. Okay, but should in case you don't have it, what you just need to do, you go to the extension and get it installed. Search for Emmet, get it installed. When you have done that, you can come over to the video and you join us. Okay, but if you haven't just ensure you get it done. Okay, so now those that have installed it, you are good to go. Okay, so let's continue. Now, what is an HTML element? An HTML element consists of a start tag, a content in it, and an end tag. Okay, so let's say for instance I have an H1, okay, that says hello world. This is an example of an HTML element. Everything in line 6 is an HTML element. Okay, everything in line 6 makes up an HTML element. Okay, now, okay, so I want to teach you guys how to write HTML elements faster. Okay, how to write your elements faster. Okay, so let's say you want to get the template, for instance, the HTML template. What you just need to do is you get exclamation mark, then click on enter. You have everything there. Okay, so I'll come back to this. Let's do something else. Let's say for instance I want to create something we just created on line 6 using HTML elements. What I'll do is I want to create the syntax for, okay, let's say I want to create an HTML element that has a class name of class 1, okay, and a tag of h1 tag that has a class of class 1. Okay, I want to create an h1 tag that has a class of tag 1. Now we want to create something like that. The syntax is tag name, then you use dot, then the name of the class. Okay, so so that's how it is done. That's how it is done. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go and press h1, the name of the tag, dot the class name. I said class 1, so it becomes class 1. Then click on what, enter. So you can see we already have that inside. Okay, so let's say for instance I want to put a content inside this class 1. So what we'll do is we'll use what we call the curly brackets, okay, or curly braces to do that, right? So I will just, the syntax is tag 1, okay. So the syntax is the tag name dot class name, then curly braces. Now this is where the content goes in. Okay, let's say I write content that I want to put inside. Okay, so this is how it works. So let's give an example. Let's say for instance I want an h1 tag and I want the class name that has a content inside. So I'll do h1 or h2 dot, the class name will be, let's say class 2, then I'll put a content, let's say hello world or hello nation, anything, not just hello world, hello nation, anything. All right, okay, so I'll just click on enter and we have it. All right, so that's how to do that. Now let's say for instance I want to use an ID. Okay, I want to create a tag that has a class and an ID. All right, and also I want to add the content in. So what will I do? Okay, let's create a class that has an ID first. What I will do is the syntax is tag name dot ID name, okay, then followed by a class name. Okay, so let's see it. Okay, All right, let's get to see how it works. Sorry about that. Okay, so I will create, let's say, h2, then id of Kingsley, for instance. Kingsley. Okay, then a class name. Okay, let's do this first, right? So this is working. So I have an h2 that has an id of Kingsley. Okay, an id of what? Of Kingsley. So this is working. You see, I have h2 that has an id of Kingsley. So let's say I want to create an id and a class inside a tag. Okay, so using Emmet, I'll do h2 Kingsley as the id. Let's say class of Iguchi. All right, so the syntax is this is the syntax for that. It's the tag name. Okay, I didn't get it at first. Tag name, then the id name. All right, id name, then dots. We use dots to create class name. Okay, so that's the syntax. All right, let's quickly create another one. All right, let's quickly create another one. Let's say, okay, a paragraph of id class 1 of id a, then class of b. Okay, so we have what? id, the id is a, class is what? Is b. All right, so that's that. Even if we want to also add a content inside, it's the same thing. We just do p dots p, the paragraph, okay, which is the tag name, then id of a, class of b, then give it whatever I want to give it. Let's say hello. All right, and does that. Okay, so that's it. Okay, now let's say, for instance, we want to create a div that has some content inside. Okay, we want to create a tag that has some element inside. Now that means we have, first of all, we have the parents, then we have the children. Okay, the child or the children element. So how do we do that with Emmet? So we'll get to see that shortly. Now in Emmet, there's what we use the greater than sign to embed element inside a parent element. Okay, so that means we'll create the parents div or the parents tag, then we'll put some element inside it. So how do we do something like that? So the first thing is we'll create, the syntax will be parent greater than, then children. Okay, children. All right, or child. Let's do this first. Okay, so what I'll do is, all right, you see, I've already created it, but I don't want to create that. Okay, so let's say we have a parent div, then we use the greater than symbol to create what? A parent, a child element. So I'm creating what? A div that has a child of a paragraph as a child. Sorry, a paragraph as a child. Okay, so I'll just put this and I have it already. Okay, so the question is, what if I want to create more than one child? So that means we want to have children inside this parent. So we'll also use what we call the plus symbol. So we'll use the plus symbol to create siblings. Okay, so what are siblings? Of course you should know what siblings are, but siblings are related by the same parent. Okay, so that is what siblings are. Okay, they are related by what? The same parent, or they are bound together by the same parents. Okay, so that means, let's say, for instance, I want to create two elements that are siblings that have what? A parent. Okay, so let's create, for instance, let's create a parent div that has two children inside, and those children, they are siblings to each other. Okay, what happens? We use a div, then parent, an element of or a p tag or a p element or p tag. Let me say p tag because I'm not putting anything inside. When there's something inside, it becomes an element. Okay, so let's say a p tag plus another p tag. Okay, so these two, or let me use h1. Now when I click and enter, and we have what? We've seen that we have what? A parent tag that has two tags inside. All right, p tag and what? h1 tag. Okay, so the moment I now have something inside, this becomes what? An element. All right, so the way it was before is just an empty tag. All right, but now it makes it what? An element. So I have two elements, p tag and what? h1. Okay, two elements inside the parent, which is what? The div. So the div becomes what? The parent that has two children, which are what? P and what? h1 tag, and they are siblings to each other. Do you get that? So you use the plus symbol to create. So let's create another one, something like that. Let's create. What if we want to create 3? So now this greater than means they are want to create the children. I said that before. Then I want to have h1 plus h2 plus h3, whatever. So I have 3 children, right? So I have how many siblings? I have 3 children in 4 children inside the parent. Do you get that? So that's for creating siblings and parent as well. So I've talked about how to create a child, an element inside the parent. I've talked about how to have siblings. Okay, so now let's proceed. Let's say for instance we want to, talking about forms, we want to create method in form in a shorter way. So we have different type of method in form. We have the get, we have the post. Okay, so so if I want to create a get, you see it's already bringing it out for us. So I'll just click on form, then I'll use column, then I'll press my get, then enter. So I already have what? A form already that takes an action attribute and a method get. Okay, the same likewise when I want to create a post, I'll just do form, then post is already there. So that's that. Okay, so let's say for instance I want to create an attribute inside an HTML tag. I want to use an attribute, create an attribute. So to do that, we'll use what we call the square brackets. Okay, let's say for instance I want to create a style attribute inside an AP tag. What I'll do is I'll put the style, then I'll click on enter, and right now I already have my style attribute inside a P tag. Do you get it? So I can write whatever I want to write. So let me quickly talk about the lorem. Okay, so talking about lorem, you can also use Emmet to create the number of words, or to get the number of words we use in lorem. Okay, so let's say for instance I want to have like 100 words in lorem, using lorem. Okay, okay, I'll come back to that. Now let's quickly talk about grouping. Okay, let's talk about grouping. So we use the parentheses to group elements in Emmet. Okay, so let's say for instance I want to have some sessions, different sessions. Let's say I have a session 1, the first session that has a child of div. Okay, and the div has a child of paragraph. Okay, and paragraph has a sibling of an h1. Okay, then I want to have another group of session as well that has a child of div, that has a child of what? Paragraph, that has a child of h1. Okay, so when I click on enter, you see we've created two sessions. Okay, the first session and what? The second session. So this is what grouping. So in grouping we just used the parentheses to what? Then we'll write Emmet inside it, and then we'll click on enter and get it. Okay, so just with one line of code we've written how many lines? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13. Just with one line of code we wrote 13 lines. We can do more than this with Emmet. Okay, now let me talk about multiplying the tags. Okay, multiplying using the asterisk, or what we normally call the star. Okay, so let's say I want to create a div or let's say a nav, what we are used to, a nav bar that has a UL inside, that has LI, okay, and I want to have like 10 LI inside. Okay, what I'll do is I'll use the star times the number that I want. Okay, I said 10, so let's use 10. So I've created 10 inside it. You can see that I've created 10 inside it. Okay, so let's say I want to create something like this that has an anchor tag. Okay, so we'll do something like nav, then UI inside, then LI inside, then it has, okay, times 10, or let's say times 2, okay, that has an anchor tag inside it. Okay, then the same thing. Okay, I'll just click on, okay, now let's say for instance I want to have inside the anchor tag, I want to make it to have some items inside. Okay, so it's numbers. All right, I'll just click on this. Now you see I've created an item inside the LI tag that is numbered 0 to 1. That's descending order. Okay, there's also a way I can write that in ascending order. Let me show you that quickly. Okay, now what we'll do is the same thing, right? Nav that has a UL inside, that has an LI, that has an anchor tag, okay, that has okay, let me multiply this by 3 or 4. So that has an anchor tag that has an item inside. All right, now this time we use the $ to give it number, but what I want to do is I want to subtract, I want to make it to become what, an ascending. Okay, an ascending. So what I'll do is, so you see we have what, sorry, this is descending order. Okay, so it's still descending order, right? Now it's descending. Okay, so that's that. Okay, okay, so what next? All right, we've seen so far how to write some basic things with Emmet. We've seen how to write an ID inside tag, how to write a class inside tag. We've seen how to create a child inside a parent. We've seen how to create siblings. We've seen how to use the form. We've seen how to group them together. Okay, so we've also seen how to list them with numbers. What have we not seen? Okay, so I have not talked about the caret. Okay, now let's see for what is caret. Now this is the caret symbol. Okay, we also use caret to create a neighboring tag. Or how did I call it a neighboring tag? Let's say for instance we have let's say for instance we have a div that has Nigeria. Okay, and in Nigeria we have some states, which is a p tag. Let's say Edo State, because I'm from Edo State. Then we have a similar neighboring states. Let's say Ondo State or Delta State. Let's say Delta State as a neighboring state. Okay, okay. Then now we have the div tag, which is Nigeria. Inside Nigeria we have the p tag that has a class of Edo State and the p tag that has a class of Delta. Now I want to create. Now, what if I want to create an element that is not related to Nigeria at all? Okay, let's say we have I want to create a Ghana, for instance. So what I'll do is I'll create an element that has a class of Ghana. What I'll do, let's say I want to create a footer, for instance, and the class will be what? Ghana. Now, when I click this, you'll see the results. Now you see that the Edo State and Delta, they are inside Nigeria, which is correct, but Ghana is not inside. Ghana is what? Outside. So when you are creating something like a neighboring, I call it a neighboring tag, okay, that is not, you don't want it to be inside the current tags or the current element that you are creating. You just want to go a step above what you are writing. We'll use what? The correct symbol. So let me create something else. Let's say I have a div of class 1, then siblings. Okay, then h1. I want to create something else that I don't want it to be part of the current tag that I have, so I will use the correct and to h2 dot correct, for instance, as a class. So we have this. See, it's outside. So whenever I want to do something, I put it outside. Then that's how we do it. So I was talking about the Lauren. Let me see. I'm trying to remember Lauren. Okay, Lauren. Okay, good. Now for Lauren, for instance, let's say I want to have 1,000 words or 100 words or 20 words in Lauren. You can also use it in Emmet. Let's say I just want 20 words. Okay, I just write Lauren, then 20 and enter. So we're having what, 20 words. Okay, so you can determine the number of words using what. So the syntax is just the Lauren, then numbers, right? And the numbers. So if you want 10, you get it. Okay. All right. So if you want 10 numbers, you get 10 numbers. Okay. So that's that for Emmet. Now let's create a template. Let's quickly create a template. Okay, and you see the magic of Emmet. Right now, I'll create a template. Now in this template, I want to create something with just one line of code. Just watch. You see, the first thing I want to group is I want to write the header. Then inside it I want to have an header that has a class name of headings. So inside it I want to have a nav bar that has a class name of navigation. Okay, so inside that I want to have a UL. Then I want to have an LI. I want to have like 5 LI. Okay, 5 LI, like 5 LI. Then I want to have an anchor tag. Then inside the anchor tag I want to have elements, some items inside. Then it's numbered. Okay, that are numbered. Okay, then I think that's that. Then I'm using grouping. Okay, so I'll group another section. Say section. Inside the section I also have a class of class 1. Then inside it I want to have a div. Inside the div I want to have a paragraph that has symbols for another paragraph that has symbols of another paragraph. Then I want to have what again? I want to have a footer. Okay, so I'll use a correct. Then I'll use, sorry about that. So I'll use the correct. I'll use footer. So when I click enter, you see just with one line of code we've written everything from this part to this part. So that's what Emmet are used for. Okay, so ensure you go over the video again if you don't understand anything, if it's not clear for you, if it's not clear to you rather, then ensure you go over it and watch what we've done. Okay, so Emmet is used to, in summary, Emmet is a tool that is used to write HTML elements faster. All right, so that's that. Ensure you make use of Emmet to write your code. And makes one thing about Emmet is like it makes your code to be what, neater. Okay, apart from the fact that it helps you to write code faster, it doesn't make it to be neater. Now imagine writing codes like this. Okay, it makes it to be neater and finer as well. So I will advise you use Emmet. Okay, so watch out for my subsequent videos. I'll be doing a video on JavaScript series soon. Okay, so ensure you subscribe to my channel and see you soon. All right.